All right. So when it comes to experiments, there's a lot more we can do in the way we design an experiment to help to help us understand some different confounding variables and whatnot. So we're going to have 3 basic experimental designs. And all these are ways we assign treatments, knowing about some other potential confounding variables. Okay. So the first kind of experimental design we have is called a completely randomized design. This is the one that we did yesterday, where you have all of your participants, and all you do is from your participants, you assign your treatments. That's it. So when you think about our 90 volunteers for that weight loss study that we looked at yesterday, what did we do? We had our treatments. We took our 90 volunteers, we divided them into the 3 treatment groups. Completely randomized design. That's it. Now, you guys remember how we talked about, I think it was you guys that brought it up, that a confounding variable in this study could be, in a weight loss study, could be age. Because I don't know if you knew this, y'all's metabolism way faster than my metabolism, right? Because as you get older, your metabolism slows down. That affects weight loss. Cool? All right. Can we control for the age of our participants if, in fact, we have a group of 90 volunteers? No, you don't get to pick how old they are. Okay? So let's go ahead and say of those 90 volunteers, they actually all got sourced from this building. There were 30 staff members and 60 students. Now, we would hope that when we randomly assign, we get about the same number of staff members in each treatment group, so that if the weight loss for staff members is different, well, it's different in all the treatment groups, so it's fine. Does this make sense? But if we're really worried about it, if we know it's going to be a super confounding variable, what we might do is take our participants and before we even assign the treatments, put them into blocks. I'm going to call it block A and block B. In this case that we were just describing, okay, the staff members would be one block, the students would be another. Are we randomly assigning to blocks? The blocks are a confounding variable, okay? There's no random assignment into the blocks. After we have all those staff members together, then what am I going to do? I'm going to assign them to one of the 3 treatment groups. And by doing it this way, am I ensuring that each treatment group has the exact same number of staff members? You guys get what I'm saying here? And in fact, even I could take those staff members and I might have the old staff members versus the medium staff members versus the young ones, right? Mrs. Murphy versus Miss Meister versus Mr. Richards, very different in age. He's really old. Yeah.
So if you were to do that, like block A's teachers, would it be like block 1, 2, 3, or would it?
So from the teachers, you have 3 treatment groups. From the students, you would have 3 treatment groups.
Yeah, I'm saying if you further divide.
Yeah, no, so block A might be young teachers, block B might be middle-aged teachers.
Okay. So you don't divide within the block?
Correct. Guys, Mr. Hedge would be in the old teacher group. He's also an old man, and a cranky old man at that.
Do you know who the youngest teacher is?
Who is the youngest teacher?
Maybe the new Spanish teacher?
Maybe the new... Who?
Mr. Stanley.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely Mr. Stanley.
Mm-hmm. He's my favorite person ever.
He's in my top 10 of students I've ever had. I taught him Algebra 1.
That's so cute.
Way back in the day.
Stream studies for 5th grade camp, and each of us knew that we had to walk 2 miles because they told us it was a small hike to the creek. Not a small hike to the creek.
Mr. Stanley at 5th grade camp was fun.
He was great. And he didn't bring any water shoes. Yeah. He only brought 1 pair of shoes. He was not driving to say the least.
Yeah.
Who else is... I would put myself in the middle-aged teachers group, right?
Yeah. You're not.
More like Danny's brother.
But he's also taught him. And Coach McCullough. I taught him.
If you count like sports coaches, then we might have some young ones.
Yeah. I feel like Mrs. Slag is pretty young.
Who is that?
She took over for Mr. Hager.
Oh, okay, yeah.
McCarthy's young.
He's 36. Sorry, we just had this conversation with him. But Miss Murphy's like 30, is much younger.
She is.
31.
Yeah.
Mr. Walkman.
He's not as young as you think.
Does he have a whole child?
No.
I don't
Oh,
know.
that was just rumor going around that he has a child.
I don't believe that.
That he's married and has kids. People are saying.
I'm not aware of that being true.
Okay.
But he had like a whole. Yeah.
He's like 30.
Yeah, he's in his 30s.
Oh.
He looks really young. Yeah. Now I'm going around.
Yeah.
Lombo's in the middle group, right?
Yeah. Isn't she in her like late 30s?
Late 30s. I think she's almost. I think next year.
Because Sheila was 38 last year.
I think next year is the big 4. You'll have to do something funny.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. One last thing. There's something called a match pairs design. We wouldn't. I don't think we'd be able to do a match pairs design in the weight loss study for sure. Okay. But essentially, for a match pairs design, what we can do is compare individuals. Or compare to oneself. That sounds really weird, but so before and after studies would be an example of a match pairs design. You guys know another good example of a match pairs design. You know how when you go buy flowers at a flower shop that they, like if it's a cut flower, they give you those little packets of plant food that you're supposed to put in the water? Okay, so let's say I wanted to decide, do those little packets actually do anything? So I'm going to set up a whole bunch of vases, okay? I'm going to have 2 roses, one that gets water with the stuff in it and one that's just got plain water. So I've got 2 roses. And then I'm going to do 2 tulips. And then I'm going to do 2 daisies. And then I'm going to do 2 orchids, though I don't think you put orchids in water, but you get the basic premise. Okay. All right. And if I do that, am I allowed to compare just those 2 roses to each other and find the difference between the 2 roses, then the difference between the tulips, then the difference between the daisies? Okay, that would be a match pairs design. Twin studies, match pairs design, for sure. Okay, so if they wanted to decide, does something make you grow, they might give it to me and not to Katie or vice versa, and see which one got taller. And the answer is neither, because we're never going to be tall ever. Which is fine, because the short Meisters lived till their mid-90s. The tall ones, not so much. So that for the longevity reason, I really hope that I got those genes. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. All right, so let's go ahead and say that Miss Meister's running an experiment, because sometimes kids tell me that they focus better on work when they're listening to music. What do you guys think? Do you guys focus better if you have music on?
I personally don't, but I think a lot of them do.
So,
I have to read.
okay, so help me out, okay? If I asked you guys to design an experiment to help me decide, what are some things we would control for? We're going to design 3 experiments, by the way. One will be a completely randomized design. One will be a randomized block design. One will be a, match pairs design. Cool? All right. So, tell me some thoughts on anything you want on how we might design this experiment. Yeah.
Well, so if we want a completely randomized design, we could, like we did a couple days ago, do all the students and number them 1 through 343, and then randomly pick.
Okay, so let's assume that I don't have access to all the students, because we might actually do this experiment, particularly on a day when I'm not here.
Okay.
And then it's possible I was going to use the data from said experiment in
Testing?
no, to teach you Unit 7. Does that sound, would that be more fun for you guys than me, like, but I just don't know that I want to wait till Unit 7, so we'll see. Okay, so 3 elements every good experiment has. What are they? If you need to look back to yesterday's notes, that is fine. What are the 3 things that every experiment has? Control. Random. Random what? Assignment of treatments. Okay, the treatments are randomly assigned. And then replication. Everybody good? So let's start with, what would our treatments be in this study? Probably not. Because if we're trying to decide does music work or not, we need music versus no music. Now, Blake, what I am going to tell you is the type of music might be a confounding variable. That's something we might want to consider as we design. Yeah?
How you listen to music too. Like if it's in the class like you do something.
Yeah, if I'm playing it up over the speakers versus listening on your earbuds, that would make a difference, yeah? Why are you guys laughing at me?
Earbuds.
Because like the dog,
Yeah.
the basketball shooting dog, airbud.
That's how my dad always pronounces it.
Oh,
Earbuds.
I just felt really old. Wait, is your dad going to listen to this recording? Because that would be bad. Hey, they don't even know who said it. It's perfect.
I feel like, I don't know if we could control this, but like where they study, because I know if we study in here, we can be less productive than at home.
Okay.
Volume of music.
Volume. Okay, perfect.
Sorry.
No, say that again, though, because it's really important.
What they're studying.
What they're studying, guys, if I was studying art history, it would be way more challenging for me to focus than if I was studying calculus. And I'm certain that for some of you, it would be the exact opposite. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. Man. So maybe instead of study, maybe we focus on a task. And, all right. What kind of task requires focus?
A quiz.
A quiz? Nah.
Coloring in. Like
Ooh.
a coloring book and you have to like stay in the lines and like do.
Or like color by number?
Yeah.
Some people hate coloring.
Okay, but it's a task where you have to.
Yeah.
One of those really
Puzzles?
annoying like puzzle IQ tests. You know what I'm talking about?
Like a
Like
Sudoku?
you have to figure out like
That's what I was
the
going to do.
patterns,
Ooh.
shapes. You know what I'm talking about?
Ooh. So I was going to cheat and use a Sudoku. Is that okay? And the one thing I would want to do is make sure that they are similar levels, yeah. Everybody has similar levels. For the completely randomized design, I might do everybody does the same puzzle. And then we'll talk about that other one in a second, okay? Yeah.
Would it be like too calculated of us to, like we couldn't pick people based off their like level of expertise? Because like Maggie can do a Sudoku in like minutes, but then I take a while. So like it might not be based off music.
Okay, so for that reason, we might do a match pairs design, because then Maggie's being compared to Maggie. We would have her do both treatments.
Yeah.
With me? Okay, so we're at the end of this, the one that we're actually going to do, is probably going to be the match pairs design. All right. Type of music, skill level. Let's see, what else? We said volume. I'm going to go noise canceling or not. Because, guys, my favorite thing about my AirBuds, now I just have to. My favorite thing about them is the noise canceling feature. It's awesome. Because when I'm working next to him and her, Lombardi and Richards, sometimes I get super distracted by them. But I'll put my earbuds in. in particular Richard's, right? Because he like interrupts my thoughts in the way that with the volume of his voice. It unsettles me. So if I put in my earbuds and put them on noise canceling, it's amazing. Is everybody good? Okay. Cool. So let's go ahead and design our experiment. So let's go ahead and talk about a completely randomized design. And so here's what I would do. I would take all my do all these controls that we just kind of talked about. Or where for a completely randomized design, maybe what I'll do is have everybody listen to the same type of music. Like everybody listens to classical or everybody listens to Taylor Swift. Or everyone, I don't know. Who's the least offensive person that you guys would listen to? Where like everybody would be cool with it?
Like the YouTube like study beats with the girl who's like working on her computer. Yeah.
YouTube study beats?
Well, there's like.
What's this? Do I just go to YouTube and type in study beats?
And you can
Yes.
also
It's a
study-
station?
You can
It's like this is lo-fi girl.
Yeah, and you can study with your favorite characters. Like you can study with like Rory Gilmore from Gilmore Girls. You can study from with random people from TV shows as well. They just like put
It's
this.
just like a constant.
You guys-
history.
You guys, I gotta stop doing this. I do this with you guys all the time, and I never even learned about the Try Guys yesterday.
I know.
Come on.
Okay.
All right. So we have all of our people, right? And then from here, have each participant. How are we gonna do this? You know what I'm gonna have them do? Flip a coin. If it comes up heads,
No.
they get to listen to music. This is totally going to be my next subplan. I think this is a great subplan.
Like have all of us listen to music or not.
Uh-huh. I'm going to do a match pairs design for it, but yeah. And then just fill out a Google form your times for each. Do you think that works? Would that be cool? Is that better than, trying to watch a video of me teaching?
Yeah.
That's what I thought too. They get to listen to music. If tails, they don't listen to music. And then, let's see. Uh-oh. You know what we haven't talked about yet? What would our response variable be for this?
How quickly they complete the puzzle.
Okay, so compare the means of time to finish the puzzle for each group.
How are we assigning this?
Head, coin flip.
But how are we choosing who is flipping a coin? Are we just saying it's?
If you each just had a coin in front of you and flipped it,
Oh, okay. So we don't have.
a coin flip is random because it's a chance process, right?
Yeah,
I think she means like
I was
this
more
group.
confused why
of
we aren't
students.
doing like the assign, like we aren't going through the process of like assigning.
Oh,
people.
I'm sorry. We're designing something for a substitute teacher, so
Okay.
and when we're designing something for a sub, I need to make it as clear instructions as possible.
Okay.
But this is working out quite lovely. I'm like really pumped about the way this is working. Because you guys are writing my subplans for me. It's fantastic. What's better than this? All right. Feel good so far? All right. Randomized block design. Okay. So this is when we look at maybe there are some specific confounding variables. Like, do you guys think type of music is a confounding variable?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing about blocks is people in blocks do not, it's not randomly assigned what block you're in. Okay, So here's how I would do a block design for this particular experiment. I might say, hey, everybody whose favorite kind of music or who plans to listen to hip hop, you're one of the blocks. And then classical, sure. What else? Pop, country, etc., right? And then I could take those hip hop folks and assign my treatments. Now, before I do all of this, I would also, now, if I ask you to describe the design, what they would probably expect here, if they ask you to describe a design, they would expect to see you talk about those different controls. For a block design, they would not ask you to describe how you would assign treatments for each group, but they would ask you to describe a randomization process for at least one of the groups, and then say, and do similar for the classical music, the pop group. Now, if I had all those folks who loved hip hop, how would I assign those treatments? We could flip a coin. We could draw names out of a hat, etc. Okay? Everybody good? This still, if asked to describe an experiment, would get a P. It would not get an E because there's something missing. The whole point of this is saying, hey, is one type of stuff faster than the other, right? Mm-hmm. We haven't mentioned the response variable, so that compare mean. In a block design, you would want to be super specific, because we're not comparing for the hip hop group, the classical group, whatever. We're comparing for those who listened to music to those who didn't. And you want to make sure you're saying we're comparing the treatment groups, not the blocks. Okay? All right. Now, I want you guys to be really careful. Sometimes they're going to ask you to describe how you would run an experiment. Sometimes they're going to ask you to describe how you would assign the treatments, and those are two different things. Everybody good? If it's just assigning treatments, you just need to talk about the random assignment part. You don't have to do the controls. You don't have to do the response variable piece. Yeah.
If they ask for assigned treatment and you do all of it, will they just assume you do not know what assigned treatment means?
It's possible that, honestly, the rubrics on these are less predictable. The bigger piece is if you describe something incorrectly that doesn't matter. Like usually the usual process is ignore anything that is extraneous unless it says something incorrect.
Okay, so you're just giving yourself more opportunity
to make a mistake. Yeah. Okay. Describing match pairs design. Okay, so match pairs is, when possible, probably the most precise kind of experimental design there is, okay? But the problem with match pairs is it's not always possible. In this case, it is. This is the one I'm going to have you guys do, okay? Now, in a match pairs design here, maybe what I would do is have each of you complete two puzzles. One with music and one without music. So we're going to have similar controls, right? And in this case, the puzzles maybe need to be same difficulty. Which is an extra control, where before we were just using the same puzzle the whole way through. But now if everybody's doing 2 puzzles, we don't want them doing the same puzzle twice, but similar in difficulty. Are we adding any other confounding variables?
If they solved from level 4, they might be like warmed up and better.
Primed. Like their brain is primed. So how do we fix that?
Do we have the next
Well, here's the other piece. Every good experiment has random assignment. If everybody's getting both treatments, how do we randomly assign? We random assign the order in which they complete the treatments. Does this make sense? And so what I would probably do, no, this is what I will do, okay, whatever day you guys end up doing this, is I'll have a first and a second equal difficulty, right? And then what I'm going to do is legitimately have a penny at each table. You flip a coin. If it comes up heads, you're going to do music first, no music second. With me? And then if it comes up tails, you're going to do no music first, music second. This does 2 things. One, if your brain is primed, right? I'll probably steal the Sudoku puzzles from the New York Times website. They have ratings of easy, medium, and hard, right? But even the 2 easies that I pick might not be the same level of easy. So if everybody does the first one first, I'll have just as many music and non-music doing the easier puzzle as well. So that'll account for that as well. Cool? All right. So match pairs design, we're going to say start with have each participant flip a coin. Music. No. If it comes up heads. That participant will complete a puzzle listening to music. Tails. They complete a puzzle, no music. And then afterwards, they switch and complete puzzle again. Fun, right? Wait a minute. What are we going to compare at the end of here?
The means.
We're not going to compare the means.
Compare your times to your
Have or compare each participant's times to each other. Everybody good? All right. Each of these designs has an advantage and has advantages and disadvantages. advantage of completely randomized design? It is by far the easiest. Disadvantages?
Confounding variables, maybe.
There's more potential for confounding, for sure. Now, if it's truly randomized in terms of how those treatments are assigned, okay, that potential for confounding is still really small. It's only in the chance that the random assignment doesn't do what it's supposed to do, okay, which is possible because you're still using a chance process to assign, okay? All right, advantages of a block design is less variability due to chance. Disadvantage? You have to create the blocks, right? You have to do more random assignment. It's just more time consuming, you know? All right. Match pairs is the most specific. And it's super direct comparisons. What's the flaws with it? For starters, it's not always possible. Super time consuming. You might be asking more of your participants, right? Because they have to go through more than one treatment. All things to consider. How are we feeling? Good?
Are we attacking 3.7 today?
I wasn't planning on it.